Over 2,000 years ago, Jesus of Nazareth brought a message that challenged humanity to look beyond appearances and discover the true divine essence within each being. His teachings, often distorted or forgotten, contain deep wisdom capable of transforming lives. Jesus spoke not only of faith and morality, but pointed toward a spiritual awakening, an inner power that transcends the ego and the limitations of the physical world. Passages like, "Be still and know that I am God. Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone," and "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am among them," reveal the depth of his words, which were often interpreted in a limited way. Concepts like the kingdom of heaven and salvation exclusively through him have been misunderstood over the centuries, causing many of his deeper messages to remain hidden. This is an invitation to rediscover Jesus' teachings beyond what is commonly taught. What did he really mean about divine nature and the transformation of the soul? How can we apply Jesus' secret teachings in our spiritual journey and live according to the wisdom he left us? In the search for spiritual awakening, few names hold as much significance as Jesus of Nazareth. Beyond traditional religious interpretations, Jesus was undoubtedly a spiritual master whose teachings concealed profound esoteric wisdom. The purpose of his teachings was not limited to conveying moral values and faith, but aimed at true inner transformation, guiding humanity toward divine enlightenment. These hidden teachings, though partially revealed in the canonical Gospels, have often been misinterpreted, distorted, or lost over time. Jesus' message was more than just a moral code or religious faith. He spoke of self-overcoming, awakening the inner divinity, and the path to Christ consciousness. At the core of his teachings were divine union, spiritual transformation, and inner awakening. He distanced himself from dogmas and religious rituals and instead focused on each human being's personal spiritual realization. Jesus believed that the divine kingdom was not distant but present within each person, waiting to be recognized and lived. Jesus' secret teachings can be understood through 3 fundamental principles: Christ consciousness, divine union, and inner transformation. These concepts are not merely doctrines or philosophies, but lived practices that lead to true experiences with the divine. Christ consciousness is the state of awakening to our true divine nature. Unlike the traditional understanding where Jesus is seen as a unique and unattainable figure, he himself taught that every human has the potential to reach this elevated state of consciousness. Christ consciousness goes beyond the ego and material existence, bringing a direct connection with God, without intermediaries. Divine union, one of Jesus' core teachings, speaks of the realization that the separation between humanity and God is an illusion. He presented himself as the perfect example of this union, stating that everyone has the potential to achieve the same experience of oneness with the Creator. This union is not merely a religious doctrine, but a personal, direct experience with the divine. Another central aspect of Jesus' teaching was inner transformation, the spiritual rebirth. When he spoke about being born again in the Spirit, he wasn't referring to a physical event or ritual, but to a profound internal change. This spiritual rebirth is a journey of self-transcendence, where an individual seeks to evolve into higher consciousness and become truly enlightened. Jesus often spoke about the kingdom of heaven, but this concept was frequently misunderstood. He wasn't talking about a distant paradise that comes after death, but rather a state of consciousness that can be achieved while still alive. The kingdom of heaven is, in fact, a state of enlightenment, where one perceives unity with the divine and transcends material limitations. These teachings of Jesus are often deeper than the biblical passages reveal. Many Gnostic texts and hidden Gospels bring forth key insights for understanding his profound wisdom. A classic example is the verse, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." John 14:6. Traditionally, this has been interpreted as an assertion of exclusivity, but the deeper meaning is that the way refers to the inner journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. In another significant passage, Jesus said, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." John 8:7. Although often seen as a teaching about compassion, it also speaks to the importance of recognizing our own imperfections before judging others. This teaching emphasizes introspection and humility, suggesting that judgment results from a lack of self-awareness. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Matthew 26:41 has also been interpreted as an acknowledgement of human frailty. However, this passage addresses the dichotomy between the higher self, the spirit, and the desires of the ego, or flesh. Jesus exhorts us to remain spiritually vigilant, cultivate disciplined spiritual practice, and align our actions with higher intentions, overcoming the ego's limitations. Another powerful teaching of Jesus is when he said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am among them." Matthew 18:20. Although often viewed as a promise of his presence in worship, he also teaches that the true strength of our spiritual practice lies in shared intention and the collective energy generated when people come together with a common purpose of spiritual awakening. "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Matthew 5:3 is a phrase traditionally understood as a praise of humility. However, poor in spirit can also be interpreted as an attitude of receptivity, where one seeks divine guidance. Spiritual humility is a key to direct connection with the divine. "You shall love your neighbor as yourself," Mark 12:31, is commonly seen as a simple moral commandment. However, this teaching hides deep wisdom about self-love. We can only genuinely love others when we learn to cultivate love and acceptance for ourselves. Love is interconnected, and the quality with which we love others is intimately linked to our capacity to love ourselves. "You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:14 is a teaching where Jesus empowers his followers, telling them that each one carries a divine light within. He calls us to manifest this light through our actions, illuminating the world with our wisdom, compassion, and truth. "Do not worry about your life." Matthew 6:25 is a direct instruction from Jesus not to let anxiety control our lives. Anxiety arises from the ego, which seeks to control everything around us. Jesus teaches us to trust in God and focus on what is spiritual rather than worrying about material concerns. "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." Matthew 5:8 is another teaching of Jesus that goes beyond morality. He refers to inner purity, sincerity, and a genuine quest for truth. Jesus teaches that by purifying our hearts and aligning our actions with spiritual principles, we can experience direct communion with the divine. "Greater works than these you will do," John 14:12, is one of Jesus' boldest statements. He calls us to recognize our own divine potential and believes that by aligning ourselves with divine love and truth, we are all capable of achieving extraordinary feats. "Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him?" Matthew 18:22 was the question Jesus answered with the instruction to forgive, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. Forgiveness is not just an act of kindness, but a practice of spiritual liberation, where we release resentment and pain, healing our own soul. Every teaching of Jesus carries the promise of profound transformation. By studying his words and actions more closely, we can learn to apply these principles in our own lives. In this way, we experience the true spiritual revolution he proposed for all those willing to follow his path. Jesus' teachings are more than ancient words or distant stories. They are deep invitations to inner transformation and connection with the divine that resonate in our hearts to this day. By exploring the mysteries and true essence of what he taught, we can unlock doors to a life of love, forgiveness, and spiritual awakening. The journey doesn't end here, and that's why, throughout this series of videos, we will delve even deeper into these secret teachings, uncovering the truths that remained hidden for centuries. If you want to continue this journey of discoveries and transformations, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and stay tuned for the upcoming videos, where we will explore even more about the depths of Jesus' message.